Alright, y'all, here's Abuamerican with a crypto mining update. Just some stuff that I've actually learned here. Playing around, doing some trying to get some efficiency going on. So at my power, I've been trying to get these numbers, these wattage, like below 120. Like you see, we got like some here, 119, 117. We got 119 here. And here's what's been happening. So I'll get the power down on, and this is actually good. I'm actually pleased with this. I'm not pleased with it, but I'm pleased that it's stable now in terms of, in multiple ways, but in terms of also power and wattage. So what happens is, and these numbers jump around, it will be 120, 119. What happened is, this will be at like 124, which I'm totally not happy with. And then I'll get it like at 119, 120. And then what will happen is another card will go up to like 124. Then I'll get that one down, and then two more will jump up to 124. And so what I came to believe, or what I think is happening here, is that it's the motherboard. So when I get the power down on this one, it just diverts that power somewhere else, and then I take a loss there. I get the power down there, it diverts it somewhere else. Generally, I'm getting the impression that's what's happening here. I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen, so I think it's a motherboard issue. I'm not sure. I'm still figuring all this out. I'm still new to it. But as you can see, I'm getting some half-decent hash, 55,810, 55,510. And there's a reason why 55,810, there's a big, a significant difference here between this one and this one. I'll explain why in a second. And like, 55. So basically, my hashing on each card is like, 55.5 and above on each card. The reason why some are so high is because I just decided that since some of these cards kept on like jumping up above 120 watts usage, I would go ahead and increase the memory, clock speed above average, because I'm like, well, I'm using more power, so I might as well get more hash out of it. And then what happened was I started playing around, and like, some of these cards, 1800 is my standard, and some of these cards that were like over like 122 watts, I just started like putting them up in terms of like the clock speed. So I started overclocking them higher than the other ones, because I was like, well, if I'm going to use more power, I might as well get more hash power. And so that's why the hash rate is higher between some cards than others in an extreme way. Anyway, stability. Let's get down to this in terms of crashes. Now, generally I was dealing with crashes every 20 hours. I'm at 22 hours here. And the reason why is because I actually had a crash, but that was self-induced. I kind of knew it was going to crash, but I did it anyway, and I'll explain that. And it wasn't because of system stability. I figured that out. It was because, basically, this room, like I said, this is a bathroom, and it's the coldest room in the house. It's below zero these days, and I closed this door. And what happened was the heat, despite these cards running at a nice, cool, mid to upper 40 degrees Celsius, the room got hot really fast, and I actually keep track of that stuff here. You can see the temperature in the room. Right now it's 20 degrees Celsius in here. These cards actually, keep the room nice and balmy and nice and warm. But when I closed the door, it was too much. They couldn't handle it. It got too hot and it crashed. Overheat. Despite the cooling systems, it just really gets stuffy hot inside here. The air doesn't flow back out of the window. It just sort of like, heat rises, and then it just all gets stuffy inside here until cold air isn't flowing in the room. When I keep that door open behind me, the air flows out of the room, and then we get a nice like warm breeze coming into the house, and this room stays consistently cool. So that crashed the system. Now, in terms of actual system Phoenix Miner stability, I was having a crash roughly every 20 hours. Before that crash, self-induced heat crash happened, I was running at about like 70 hours without a crash. It was just mining 70 hours straight. I'm not expecting a crash here, even with my settings that have gone basically untested. And that's because I figured out some stuff with the README. Now, in the README, you should print this out. It's hard to read on the screen. There are some scripts in here specifically for AMD cards. And as you guys know, I have 5700 XTs, the AMDs by ASUS, the ones they say not to buy. You can, dudes, I don't know if that's valid information anymore. I would say trust the experts. They said don't buy them, but I flashed the BIOS on these, even though I was advised not to. And they've been, overclock running, as you can see, quite smoothly without a problem. But the word was don't buy these, the Chinese-made one. And I have the Chinese-made ones, and they're running fine. The temperatures are fine, as you can see. We'll see what it looks like in the summer. So anyway, inside this README, There are instructions and there are scripts that, now something just changed here. I just heard the fan change. That's usually the sign of like a card crashing. We're going to check it out here in a second. There are scripts in here that you put inside of your start.bat for AMD cards. And those scripts, although it's a few, they lead to an insane difference in your system in terms of system stability. So make sure you put those scripts inside of your start.bat, and it will make a night and day difference. Trust me on that one. I learned this the hard way, but I learned it recently. Like I said, I had the cards running about 70 hours after I put those scripts inside there. Massive difference. Now, we were talking about like the sound of no, nothing changed. I thought it was a crash. Usually when the fan changes, that means the fan profile has reset. There's been a crash. What will happen is, for some reason, the fan profile will reset. Then the system will overheat. The card will overheat, and it'll crash the entire system. Then you have to come and restart the entire system. But I keep a very high fan profile, guys. 75%, as you can see. I don't want to take any chances since heat is my number one enemy. This was what they said was the problem with these cards, was heat. But I can't imagine that you'd want to, like, you know, have a relaxed fan profile with any card for that matter. I mean, heat is heat. But maybe I'm wrong. Trust the experts, guys. Anyway, that's where I'm at on the mining. If you plan on getting into yourself, it's going to be boring to people who aren't into mining. I am